What would you do if the people you loved most chose a backyard barbecue over the birth of your first child? For me, that question wasn't hypothetical. It was the raw, jagged truth that sliced through my heart the day my daughter, Lily, was born. I stood in the hospital room, cradling her tiny, perfect body, while the silence of an empty room echoed louder than her cries. My family parents, my siblings, my cousins were all at my brother's house, laughing over ribs and cold beer, while I faced the most transformative moment of my life alone. But this isn't just a story of betrayal. It's about what happens when you take a stand, when you turn pain into something unforgettable. The day started with hope. My contractions had begun at dawn, steady and insistent, and I called my family to share the news. "She's coming," I said, my voice trembling with excitement. My mom promised they'd be there. My sister, Jenna, swore she wouldn't miss it. Even my brother, Mark, the one hosting the annual family barbecue, said he'd swing by the hospital first. I believed them. Why wouldn't I? They were my family, the ones who'd always been there through my awkward teenage years, my college graduation, my wedding. They were my rock. Or so I thought. Hours passed in the hospital, each one stretching longer than the last. The pain was intense, but the anticipation kept me going. I kept glancing at the door, expecting to see familiar faces burst in with smiles and support. But no one came. Not my mom, not Jenna, not even Mark. I texted them between contractions, my fingers shaking. "Where are you guys?" No response. By the time the doctor told me it was time to push, the truth settled in like a stone in my chest. They weren't coming. They'd chosen a party over me, over Lily. When Lily was born, the world shifted. She was perfect 6 pounds, 7 ounces, with a shock of dark hair and eyes that seemed to hold a universe of secrets. I held her close, tears streaming down my face, but they weren't just tears of joy. They were tears of abandonment. I called my mom one last time, leaving a voicemail that quivered with hurt. "Lily's here. I wish you were too." Still nothing. Later, I learned they'd seen my messages, but figured I was fine since the delivery went well. Mark's barbecue was in full swing, and no one wanted to leave the fun. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. That night, alone with Lily, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this slide. I wasn't going to be the quiet, forgiving daughter who let her family's absence go unaddressed. I wanted them to feel what I felt not out of spite, but because I needed them to understand the weight of their choice. I needed them to see Lily, to see me, and to carry the memory of this moment forever. The twist came the next day, when I met Sarah, a nurse who'd been by my side during labor. She wasn't just kind. She was a force, a single mom who'd raised her son alone after her own family turned their backs on her. Over coffee in the hospital cafeteria, she shared her story, her voice steady but laced with fire. "Sometimes, family isn't who you're born to," she said. "It's who shows up." Her words hit me like a revelation. Sarah wasn't just a nurse. She was a mirror, reflecting the strength I needed to find in myself. She gave me an idea, one that would shake my family to their core. I planned a gathering a week later, inviting the entire family to my house. They thought it was a simple welcome for Lily, a chance to coo over the new baby and make up for their absence. They arrived with gifts and apologies, their faces sheepish but relaxed, as if a few sorries could erase the hurt. I let them settle in, let them hold Lily, let them think everything was fine. Then, I stood up and asked for their attention. "I want to show you something," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. I turned on the TV, where I'd connected my laptop. A video began to play. It was a montage I'd spent days creating, pieced together from hospital footage I'd asked Sarah to help me record. There I was alone in the delivery room, gripping the bed rails, my face contorted in pain. There was the moment Lily was placed in my arms, my sobs echoing in the empty room. And then, Interspersed with those images were photos from Mark's barbecue ones they'd posted on social media, laughing, clinking glasses, oblivious to my calls. The contrast was stark, undeniable. The room fell silent. My mom's face crumpled. Jenna looked away, tears in her eyes. Mark's jaw tightened, his beer bottle frozen in his hand. I didn't stop there. I spoke, my voice low but firm. This was the day my daughter was born, the day I needed you most, and you chose a party. I want you to remember this, because I always will. I paused, letting the weight settle. But I also want you to know that Lily and I were enough. We'll always be enough. The aftermath was chaos. My mom sobbed, begging for forgiveness. Jenna tried to explain, her words tripping over each other. Mark stormed out, only to return an hour later, his eyes red, muttering apologies. But it wasn't about their guilt. It was about me reclaiming my voice, my worth. I didn't need their validation anymore. Sarah's words had rooted themselves in me, and I knew I could build a family for Lily, one that showed up no matter what. In the weeks that followed, things shifted. My family tried to make amends. Mom visited daily, bringing meals and stories of her own motherhood struggles. Jenna offered to babysit, her apologies quieter but sincere. Mark, usually stoic, wrote me a letter admitting he'd been wrong. I accepted their efforts, but I kept my guard up. Lily deserved better, and so did I. Sarah became a fixture in our lives. She wasn't just a nurse anymore. She was a friend, a reminder that family could be chosen. She brought her son, Ethan, to playdates, and we'd laugh over coffee while the kids napped. She taught me that strength isn't just about standing up to others, it's about standing up for yourself, for what matters most. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. That video, those words, they weren't just for my family. They were for me, a declaration that I wouldn't let their absence define me. Lily is 2 months old now, her giggles filling our home with light. Every time I look at her, I'm reminded of the power of that day, not the pain, but the strength it uncovered. My family may have skipped her birth for a barbecue, but I made sure they'd never forget her. And in doing so, I found something even more profound, the courage to define my own family, my own story on my own terms.